Dalima, for joining us for the Success Story series. So before we get started, if you could just tell us a little bit about your background, what do you do, and what has been your story so far?
So I completed my undergrad in BTech in Electronics and Communication from Thapar in 2018. And for the past 3 years, I've been working in the consulting industry with ZS Associates in their operations track. And from there, I decided to pursue MBA to move further into consulting. So it's more of a career growth for me rather than a career change. And the industries I want to target after MBA are consulting or probably healthcare.
Right. So, Dalma, 3 years. So, first of all, how did you get into ZS? Was it like a campus recruitment kind of a thing, or how did that happen to you?
So I was pretty decided that I did not want to pursue tech in my third year of engineering itself. So I was looking more towards like non-core roles as it's widely popular in the engineering colleges. So actually I started my hand at FinOps. With JP Morgan Chase for 6 months. But it was just, I think it was just not challenging enough for me. So I was actually looking for a more fast-paced kind of role. And that is how I landed in ZS because I had friends there who told me about the culture and the responsibilities that you're given are early in your career, which is evident by the way that I got promoted there in 2 years itself. And I was leading a team by the time I even decided to go for an MBA, which I think was the major motivator for me.
Right. So, what do you do? Like, how does your day look like, and what are the kind of problems do you solve at work?
Yeah, so I think in consulting, every year your typical day changes. So when I started, my typical day was more into like going into analytics, connecting with my onshore people, working with my team members to ensure that the project is being delivered smoothly. But as I progressed, my role also kind of changed. So it went over and above all of these things. I was supposed to lead a team. So I typically start my day with onshore calls where I connect with the onshore team members to understand what's been going on the client side. And then I connect with my team members to see how they are doing, probably some one-on-one connects to coach them how to do better in their own career, while also ensuring that I'm also having enough opportunities for growth. And I generally end my day again with some calls with them.
Awesome. Awesome. So, how did it, so is this a decision for an MBA more like a standard next step for most people in your kind of roles, or you felt that there was a need of doing an MBA at this point in your career?
So I would say definitely see no degree is is an indicator for success in the future life. So definitely there are people who have achieved great milestones in my industry as well without even doing an MBA. I think personally for me, when I started leading a team, I just felt very unprepared to lead that team. Definitely it worked out great for me at the end, no doubt. But when I started in that role, it was just very overwhelming for me, and I had to consciously connect with people to understand how that's being done. And that actually helped me thrive in my role. So for me, MBA is kind of more towards that same kind of learning culture where I would be better prepared to lead teams, to move more into strategy kind of roles, and to move deeper into consulting itself.
Right. So with a consulting kind of a background, and we know how life can be there, right? So how did you manage your GMAT prep?
So definitely it's difficult with I think any exam preparation is really difficult with a full-time job. And especially for a course like MBA, if you're preparing where you have 2 to 3 essays per school and you're targeting like 4 to 5 schools in every round, it's definitely difficult. And on top of that, you are in a consulting kind of jobs, and that to a work from home environment due to the pandemic where anyone can reach out to you anytime. It was definitely a challenge. For me, it was more of like I used to study at night, but that did not work out great for me because consulting is where nights are for the job. So I decided to shift my plan to mornings because most of the people in my industry, my company, my team do not work at that time generally. So I used to wake up early to give myself hours, and then definitely weekends were there for the mocks.
Right. So if you have to tell the fellow test takers, top 2 or 3 things that you think they should follow when they are preparing for their GMAT, what would you tell them?
I think the number one for me is mocks, because for me, it was really hard to get back to that student life after working for such a long time. So I just felt like I had really lost my touch with pacing, with that exam stress. And for me, distractions is a big thing. So I had to get accustomed to that all over again. So I religiously used to give a mock every weekend. And that's, I think, would be my number one advice. The number two would be find a time where people don't disturb you and try to give 2 to 3 hours of preparation every day. And it's easily achievable with a job. I did that in like 2 to 3 months. So I think it's achievable for anyone. The third would be like, I know a lot of people say that, but not a lot of test takers follow it. But maintain an error log. That really helps a lot in GMAT. And that is where I was able to identify which section was taking more time, which sections I needed to improve, and which sections I could just, if I just maintain my normal accuracy, I would do great on the test.
Brilliant, brilliant. So you got a 730 and pretty much in the first attempt?
It was 720 in the second attempt.
Second attempt. Okay, okay. So once you got your score, you had to start planning on how you would go about applying, right? So how did you bump into Crack Verbal, and tell us about, you know, your whole initial research to get onto the application process.
Crack Verbal, to be honest, I was actually looking at Crack Verbal even after my first attempt, when I was not even planning to apply for MBA. And I stumbled on it, I think, from Google or word of mouth itself. And at that time, I actually had the opportunity to talk to the founder itself. And he was really great at answering my questions. And I even consulted him if I should give my GMAT again or stick with the score. So he really helped me out with the finer details. And I think on his suggestion, I decided to take my GMAT again to have better opportunities. And we parted on really good terms, wherein I told him, like, once I give my GMAT and achieve a better marks according to me, then I will contact them again. And that is when I contacted them after my GMAT attempt. I think I contacted them after one day only. And I had an opportunity to talk to Likhesh. So most of the consultants that I was looking at that time would only used to ask me about my profile and used to not offer me any kind of advice. But with Likhesh, he actually spent a lot of time going over my profile, what kind of services they offer, what more opportunities I could have. It was, I think, in more of a coaching session instead of an interrogative session, which it felt with most of the consultants. And that is why I decided to go ahead with Crack Verbal.
Awesome. So since you've gone through the entire process, and I will talk about the results, which I'm really excited about soon. Why do you think a professional help was important for you in this whole journey?
Yeah, I think the main thing for me was like coming from an engineering background. A lot of my friends were already pursuing their masters, but none of them were pursuing an MBA. So I did not have a strong background or understanding of how even the process works. And given that I had less time, I gave my GMAT in July, and the applications were like, my first application I think went in September first week itself. And that seems like a lot of time, but in the application process, it was not. Like, even after having a 2-month head start, even after having a consultant, I found myself, like, with my job, I found myself struggling to write essays. So definitely an head start was something which I did not have. So I really wanted someone to guide me through the process, to help me with all of the researching, to help me with my essays, because definitely my friends were there and they could give their opinions, but I really wanted some professional help to review my essays. And definitely I was looking at scholarships from US colleges, and that is somewhere another way that I wanted to professionals help.
Right. So you spoke about writing essays, right? So what was your biggest challenge when you wrote your first, draft?
So this is one thing that I've actually had a word with my mentor as well, the one Mukund, who I was assigned to. So when I started with my essays, it was very difficult because I had never written a essay for a college, right? I had people who had given me their reference essays, but those were very different from the MBA essays that I had. And some were even very, very reflective, that you would actually have to reflect upon your own life to write. So the first essay, I actually had a lot of trouble writing because I did not have a starting point. So I used to read a lot of essays. I even asked the Crack Verbal team for a PDF of essays, which they forwarded me, and which I went through to write my first essay. So I think the first essay was definitely a challenge. But by the time I reached the last essay, I was almost flawless. I could write flawless essays in time itself with the minimum revisions required. So that is something even my mentor told me, like there has been a significant progress between the first and the last college that I wrote the essays for.
Right. Do you agree that this process was more like a introspection and a learning
Yeah.
process for you than just essay options, right?
I think definitely, and I think even colleges are understanding that, because most of the colleges that I wrote essays for, their prompts were very introspective, very I would say very qualitative rather than quantitative. Something which you have to like align your own journey with their prompts rather than just writing something about your goals or the clubs that you would be part of. So I
Yeah.
think even their prompts are getting really introspective, and I think even the essays are getting more introspective with time.
True, true, true. So, how many schools did you apply to in total?
So I actually applied to 8 schools,
Okay.
and I received admits from 4.
Wow, that's awesome. Congratulations on that. So you've
Thank you.
received an admit from UNC, Foster, ISB,
UT,
and UT
yeah,
McCombs,
MCOMs.
right? McCombs, right? So, um, how are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling great. It's a pretty good conversion rate. Even most colleges don't have that kind of a conversion rate for applicants. So I would say like it's a pretty good conversion rate, and all of these colleges are really great, no matter the decision that comes out in the end. So I'm actually pretty excited.
Yeah, and I guess you've also got great scholarships,
Yes.
Forte scholarships across all the 4 schools that you applied, at least not ISB, but all the US schools that you applied. So
Yes.
almost 80K, 50K kind of scholarships. That's
Yes.
also awesome. How did the interview process go, and what do you think is the importance of the interview process in this entire plan?
Yeah, I think the interview process, especially I would talk about the US schools, is more of like their way of getting to know you. And that is how they generally start the interview process. Like anywhere you go to, the first thing that they will tell you, like, be relaxed. And this is more of like a way to get to know you, and for you, a way to get to know them, rather than an stress interview kind of thing that we Indians are generally accustomed to. So
Mm.
that's one great thing that I felt about that. And I think most of the interviews, the questions that they have generally lasted only like 15 to 20 minutes. And the rest of the time in the starting or the end part was more about conversations and how can you hold a conversation with someone you have just met. And I think that also matters really a lot, which was actually a feedback I got from the Crack Verbal team.
Mm.
So and I use that. And specifically like with UNC, where I have the most scholarship, I actually connected a lot with their admissions committee member, and she and I actually ended up talking about for like 20 minutes even after my interview, just discussing like whether and how the course is and what more changes are they looking to make in the UNC program. So I think those things matter a lot, the way that you are able to connect with the admissions committee team.
All right. So, what is the major difference that you saw between, say, an ISB interview versus American school interview?
I think first of all would be the strength. So when I went for the ISB interview, there were 3 people, felt more like a panel, whereas the American colleges have more like only 1 people taking the interview. And there was one place where I had a student interview me, but that's the common theme there. Like either the admissions committee or the students in the admissions committee take your interview, whereas in ISB, they highly rely upon the alumni network to take the interviews, and the current students are not that involved in the process. I think it's majorly because it's only an year MBA. So generally students are very like engrossed in their own curriculum to come and take interviews of the incoming class.
Right.
Secondly, I would say even though ISB's interview was also very relaxed, but you have 2 people taking interviews and they were highly experienced than me. Like one of them had like 10 years of experience, the other had 12 years of experience. So definitely those were like very highly respected individuals in their own field. So I would say they were not making me feel that. I myself felt very intimidating giving interview to such highly respected individuals. But I think overall the common theme remains the same across even ISB and US schools, that they really want this to be a process to get to know you rather than it being a stress interview. That I never felt in any of these schools process.
Right. I know we did a mock interview thing together. So, was what went through in that preparation? If you could just tell us a little bit more about your interview prep process too.
Yeah, so as you know, I reached out to you because I really wanted to brush up on my interview skills, because the last interview I gave was like 3 years ago to get into my current organization. So I was definitely rusty. So I reached out to you and we picked the like the school that I wanted to really target out of all of those, even though the questions almost remain the same across the process. And then we had kind of like interview that I had, and it was mostly the same experience. And I think half of the time went in the interview and half of the time went into the feedback that you gave me, which I definitely noted, and I just used to go through that notes whenever I was going to give an interview. And I think one or two common themes that you pointed out, I really took it consciously and tried to apply it in my interviews. And I think that went really well for me, because all of these colleges that I converted were after the mock interview that I had with you. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. So now what's the plan? What's the next step for you?
I think right now the next steps for me are like, I'm having a good problem where I have a lot of options. And I think the next step is definitely deciding upon which college I want to go to. So that is also a difficult decision, definitely. And that is where I even reached out again to the Crack Verbal team, and they were very generous enough to set up a post-admission counseling session. And that's also helped a lot. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. So congratulations, Nalima. We are so happy for you. And I'm so glad that you have a very good problem to have. And I think most aspirants who are applying want to be in your kind of a situation. So
Definitely.
I'm so glad. And I think all the 4 schools are awesome. And, I just wish you make the best choice, which works best for you. I'm sure you'll do awesome in your career, and you already doing great so far, and I'm sure whatever you do next, you'll do great there too. Maybe after your MBA, we can connect again, maybe get to know what you're doing next and what is your plan, and I'd love to know more about your story on that. Any last tips to aspirants on the entire process, or more like words of wisdom if you have for people who are applying?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm still like in the shoes to give words of wisdom to someone, but definitely if someone would ask for my advice, the thing that I tell them is definitely be informed, because MBA process is very different, and most of the people coming to pursue it really don't have that many contacts. So definitely be informed, and LinkedIn is a really good way to reach out to current students to know about colleges, especially for people residing in the different country than they want to pursue an MBA in. So that's what I used. I used like a student's website or LinkedIn to connect with current students to know more about school and their culture. I think the first advice would be to start early, definitely. Even though I started really early, I still feel I could have started even earlier. And I think I would feel that even if I started earlier. So definitely start as early as you can. That definitely gives you an edge, and definitely have a good support network around you, because it is a rigorous process. And I think MBA in itself is a very rigorous course, and that is very evident in the way the process is now. Because MBA colleges really want to see because if you can't handle the process, then definitely you won't be able to handle the vigor of the program, and that I think they put in the process itself. So that is also one thing, like be ready for the rigor that is going to come with the MBA program. And I think I've learned so much in the process in itself that I'm so excited to like learn more during my MBA journey.
True, true. That's awesome. And thank you so much for your inputs. I think this is gold for people who are, planning their entire next steps now for 2022. All the best, Nalima, to you. And, I know that this has been a journey of a lot of hard work and a lot of emotional roller coaster too.
Definitely.
So I'm so glad, now you're at a point where it's easy. And like you said, you don't know what to do next now because
Yeah,
you're suddenly free. So,
definitely. Like,
so thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving me time for this chat, and all the best to you. And maybe we'll catch up later again, and let me know what you
sure.
decide finally. I'd love
Yeah.
to know what you've decided.
Even I would like to know what I'm going to decide, but yeah, I think it's still going to take some time, but yeah.
Right. Cool. Thank you so much, Nalima. Have a very nice weekend.
You too. Thank you.
Bye bye. Take care.
Bye.